Hello everyone, welcome back to the XSP Green Monster channel. If you are new to the channel, my name is Riley, and I do videos about car audio, stuff I do to my 1997 Chevrolet Suburban, and just basically anything that has to do with my truck. I do videos on tips and tricks, anything I can think of. If you are returning, thank you, I really appreciate the support. And today I'm going to talk about kind of an interesting project that I did recently. I know that this is probably something a lot of people have come across, is that when you're going to buy jumper cables for your truck or for your car, there are all these really cheap 4 gauge or 8 gauge jumper cables, and I had a pair burn up on me, and that's kind of why I decided to do this. Given that my car has two 320 amp alternators on it, I need something that can move that power to another vehicle if I want to use those alternators to jumpstart a vehicle, and they work very well, jumpstart vehicles actually. So I made my own jumper cables, which you can see here. So that's what I'm going to be going over today, is how I made these and what you need if you want to make your own jumper cables. Okay, so here they are, and I'm going to start on one end and then kind of work my way down, uncoil them. Okay, so on this end I have this massive, I believe it's the SB350 Anderson connector with the dust cover and the handle, because these things are actually very difficult to get apart once they're together. But you can see in there, it's the big SB350. So this is called an Anderson terminal, and I got all these products I believe on wirecare.com besides the actual ends. And I have this, I have the other end, which I will put up pictures right now of this plugged in my truck, and you'll see this goes into another big blue Anderson connector, and then that is actually wired directly to my battery. So with these jumper cables, all I have to do is hook this into the Anderson connector on my battery, and then my jumper cables are ready to go. So I don't have to worry about connecting anything to my batteries. It's got, obviously I have the handle, usually it just comes with this blue part. I have the handle and the dust cover, and I have dust cover for the one that's on my truck as well. And that all fits nice. I actually really enjoy these. I have these for my subwoofer connections too, because my subwoofers are a pain to take out of my truck. So then I have this, which I had to cut to fit it up inside of this thing, but that is actually this, which is just big heat shrink. So this is 4:1 heat shrink that I bought, and this is all done with Sky High Car Audio 1/0 cable, so Welding 2/0 cable, or 00 double-aught gauge, whatever you want to call it. It's done with 2 runs of that. So this is 4:1 2-inch diameter heat shrink, I believe, with adhesive on the inside, so this actually sticks, so you can kind of see it right here. This white stuff is the adhesive from the heat shrink. This stuff works really well. I mean, I really like the way this heat shrink works. I might buy more of this stuff. It is expensive, but it does work very well. And then I have some right here. This is all, ooh, I cannot remember the name of it right now, but it is called Flex Shield. It's called something like that. But you can find this stuff on wirecare.com as well, and it's basically just this like flexible shielding for wire that goes over it. You can kind of see in there that there's a white run over here and a blue run over here, but I have 10 feet of this that runs across the whole thing. These jumper cables are actually 12 feet long, including the parts in my truck. So I'll bring up the rest of it here. So you can see all of that, and this is all the, for some reason I cannot remember the name of this, but if you go onto wirecare.com, that's wirecare.com, you can find this stuff, and it's just protective coatings for wires, which has worked out really well. So next part I just have this to clean it up right here, and this is just tested tape, which I've showed you before. I just didn't want to use this stuff on this connection. This is just the ending for this protective sleeving, and I didn't want to use this on here for some reason. I'm not 100% sure why, but I just decided not to use this to terminate this end. And we get to the meat of these things, which are the actual connectors. So these are grounding clamps for welding, actually. And if you search welding ground clamps, you'll find a bunch of these. These are the 500 amp version, so each of these is rated for 500 amps. So I know that these are going to easily be able to handle everything my alternators have to throw. And they are very, very stiff to open up, but they do provide a really good lock. And this stuff right here, it comes bare metal. I just threw some of this heat shrink over right here, and I actually really like the way it turned out. It's very stiff on the insides, and over the wire, which I ran from this bolt back, just like that. So they came out pretty good, and obviously I have, matching my vehicle, I have the blue on my ground and the pink on my hot side with the matching heat shrink that I always run. And yeah, so that's basically what I did for these. This is a pretty expensive way to go. These Anderson connectors are pretty expensive. The grounding clamps were pretty cheap, but obviously I got a bunch of sky-high wire, which isn't... You could do this much cheaper with welding wire. I just wanted to run some sky-high wire to do this because I really like sky-high wire, and I like supporting John Rabe and what he's doing over there. But I really like the way this turned out. I think it looks awesome, and they work really well. I can actually jump my own truck now since I have 2 banks of batteries, so I can actually jump my own truck, which is kind of fun and funny to do. But yeah, so that's about how I make it. I think that this setup with 24 feet of sky-high car audio 1/0, grounding clamps, heat shrink, braided sleeving for the wires. I already had some pink and some blue from doing my engine bay. I bought all this thick. This is heavy duty black, so this is the really cheap stuff. This is a heavier duty. I think this is 400 degrees Celsius rated. And then the Anderson connectors with all of the good bits was around $250 to $300 for all the materials, and I obviously had to put in some time soldering up all the connections and then making it look all nice and neat. But all in all, I was around $250 to $300 with it, which isn't too bad. And I mean, they're really heavy duty jumper cables that are going to last me a very, very, very long time, and I can bring them out at shows and they look pretty good. So it's kind of like a show piece and a functional piece. But yeah, I'd highly recommend making your own jumper cables. You could do this with 4 gauge. They make these Anderson connectors for basically every size wire. So you could do this with whatever you wanted, and you don't have to get these big, massive grounding clamps like I did. They make smaller grounding clamps. I just went with the big ones because I like to go overboard with my electrical stuff, and I thought that these would be cool. So yeah, I'd say if you want to do this, I'd highly recommend making your own jumper cables. It's not that hard, and you could do it with you could do it under $100 to make your own jumper cables, which for the cost of a really nice set of jumper cables, it's about the same. And yeah, I'll bring the camera back up and I'll do the outro, and I hope that you guys enjoyed these. I'll put up a couple more photos of this connected in my engine bay, and I might make another pair of them soon here, so I'll have to see. We'll see. I've been thinking about possibly trying to see if anyone wanted to buy these jumper cables if I made them, but I don't think that I would, just because they're so expensive. I'd have to sell them for like $350 to $400 a pair if to all set up like this, at least if you wanted like Anderson connectors and like the really nice braided sleeving and the nice heat shrink, not just cheap heat shrink. So I'm not sure if I'm going to, but I've kind of thought about doing it because I think they look really cool and they're actually pretty practical to use. I feel like if you were driving a semi truck, it'd be nice to have a set of jumper cables like this. There's really a heavy duty set with nice braid sleeving that you can just plug in and use. You don't have to do any other fancy stuff. Yeah. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed that quick little video. I should have a couple videos coming out on the truck soon and a pretty fun unboxing coming out on the truck soon. I'm having some problems with the engine, so I'll be doing a full video on how to fix what's going on with the truck, how to diagnose what's going wrong with the truck, hopefully based on my knowledge, and have an unboxing video with that. And I also have light bar installs. I've got more tuning videos coming out. I've got a ton of stuff planned for you guys. I'm basically just waiting on this weather to start clearing up. It's been extremely rainy up here, and it's hard to do what I want to do while it's raining since I don't have an enclosed garage. Otherwise, I'd be coming out with some videos for you guys all the time. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a big thumbs up. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.